So I was discussing when you need to analyze the impact of variable of one variable on another variable. The variable which is influenced by other variable is known as endogenous variable, and the variable which is actually influencing is considered as exogenous variable. So the self-esteem is exogenous in this way because it is influencing the endogenous variable. So you have been able to understand the basic difference. Next is the term which is frequently we will use as a path. In SEM, the path represent the hypothesized relationship between variables. So they are directional connection showing how one variable influences other. Simply, they are arrows. The arrow that we have previously seen, that self-esteem is basically influencing the academic achievement through some arrow, which is indicated as a path in SEM. So there is a path coefficient always involved here. uh, the coefficient or the beta coefficient representing the strength and direction of the relationship between two variables in the SEM is called the path coefficient. The path coefficient are akin to regression coefficient. So it is similar like the regression coefficient or regression beta that we calculate in regression analysis. So how can we understand the path coefficient and path? You may have endogenous variable, you may have an exogenous variable, and you are going to see the impact of self-esteem on academic performance using some arrow. This arrow is basically the path between self-esteem and academic performance. So the coefficient value or the beta value for this relationship is considered as a path of coefficient. So whenever I use the word path coefficient, it means the coefficient value for the relationship between exogenous and endogenous. So you need to understand this term. Then we may have two types of constructs. Previously, we were discussing that the construct is something that we need to measure indirectly. If we see in the previous slide, if we need to measure self-esteem, we can measure using the 9 factors. So self-esteem is basically a construct. In the same way, academic performance is basically a construct, but it is a dependent variable and it is in an independent variable. So there are two types of constructs that we need to deal using the SEM analysis. The first one is the reflective construct, and the second one is the formative construct. So first you need to understand what do we mean by reflective construct. A reflective constructs are more common in SEM and are characteristic by a reflective relationship between the latent variable and its observed indicators. So when your construct shows some reflection of arrows, I will indicate a diagram over here, but at first we need to understand the basic guideline that what we need to understand about reflective constructs. So in a reflective constructs, the latent variable is basically the constructs that we are going to measure. So in a reflective constructs, the latent variable is considered to be the common cause of the observed indicators. So when we have some statement, we may have some factors, we may have some indicators that basically indicate a common cause of something. Then the latent variable become the reflective constructs. So I will let you know through example what does it mean. So all indicators are assumed to reflect the same underlying construct or concepts. So change in the latent variable are expected to cause changes in the observed indicator. It means if you change your observed indicator or your statement, it will also change the latent variable. So they are causing some common cause regarding the latent variable. So if you change the statement, your latent variable will also change. They are directly proportional, they have direct proportional changes in both of them. The observed indicators are expected to be correlated with each other. It means the number of your indicators or number of your factors or number of your statements may be correlated with each other because they are commonly causing a latent variable, because they are measuring the same underlying constructs. When to use reflective constructs? There are two reasons that you need to understand, especially the second one was more obvious when we are going to use the reflective constructs. So when the indicators are considered to be interchangeable, you can use one statement in place of the other in place of the third one in place of the fourth one. So when the indicators are interchangeable, it means you can use reflective constructs. So when the indicators are considered to be interchangeable and represent different facets of the same underlying concepts, you can say those statement or those indicators are the alternative to measure that concept. So when the observed indicators are highly correlated with each other, then you need to use the reflective constructs. So it is the basic reason when someone asks me, because I am also a faculty member, also a researcher. So whenever a junior researcher or some student ask me, dear Professor Zahid Bashir, please let us know when to use the reflective construct. I normally indicate them first. You need to see whether your indicators causing your latent variable, and second thing, you need to see the correlation between your indicators. If the correlation between indicators is high, it means you need to use the reflective constructs. So you need to understand through the diagram how we can assess whether it is reflective or not. In this in this in this construct, like academic performance, you can see the direction of the arrow towards the factor, towards the indicators. So we can say that academic performance is reflected through these six causes, these six indicators, or these six statements are basically causing the academic performance. So whenever your indicators basically indicate some concept and the concept is reflected by those statement, we can say that it is a reflective constructs. In the same way, you can also see the self-esteem, the direction of arrow is towards the indicator. So when the direction of arrow is towards the indicator, we consider it as a reflective construct. The second thing we have discussed over here, that these indicators like AP1, AP2, AP3, AP4, AP5, AP6, they may have been highly correlated with each other. So if they are highly correlated, it means you need to use the reflective constructs. But if they are not highly correlated, or there is a you can say low correlation between these indicators or these factors, you should not use the reflective constructs. You may need to use the formative constructs. So basic consideration in case of reflective constructs is that the indicators may be highly correlated. There may be highly correlation between the indicators of that constructs. uh, so how can we understand that we need to use reflective constructs? How can we judge from our statement, from the questionnaire statement or items, that we need to use reflective constructs? If you see in the previous slides, we may have used academic performance through six indicators. So let's suppose there are some six statement involved and there are nine statement for self-esteem. So how can we how can we understand that these statements are relevant towards the construction of reflective constructs? So in order to make the academic achievement as a reflective construct, I need to see that my statement should indicate or should be able to cause the academic achievement. uh, if you previously see what I have told you, that in a reflective constructs, the latent variable is considered to be the common cause of observed indicators. So these are observed indicators. So statement indicate a common cause. So here you can see these are the causes, and academic achievement are basically the result of these causes. So in the first indicator, you can say my grades in essential academic subject are good reflection of my overall academic performance. So we may say that as per first statement, the statement causes academic performance to be high. In the same way, if we see the second indicator, it will show you that I take pride in maintaining high overall GPA across all my courses. So high GPA is basically causing the academic performance. In the same way, I am typically rank high among my peer in terms of academic performance. So here it is also causing your reflective indicator, reflective constructs. So the fourth statement is I excel in advanced or honors courses that challenge student academically. So this statement is also reflecting the academic achievement. So in the same way, you can see here, like in case of self-esteem, there are 9 statement which is indicating I generally feel good about myself as a person. It is indicating that it is going to measure the self-esteem, because it indicates or it causes the self-esteem. So when a person feel about himself as a good, so it means that its self-esteem is increasing. I am satisfied with my physical experience, it increases self-esteem. I feel confident in my ability to handle various tasks, it increases self-esteem. So when a statement is causing your construct, it means you are using reflective construct. So this is how we can understand the construction of reflective constructs. And when we basically analyze the correlation between these statement, there will be a high correlation that will let us know that we need to use the reflective constructs. Uh, when I am going to use the smart PLS, I will show you how I will decide that I need to use the reflective construct or I need to use the formative construct, because we just need to check what is the statement, whether it is causing the construct, and whether the correlation between the statement is high or low. Next is basically the formative construct. In case of formative constructs have a formative relationship between the latent variable and its observed indicator. In a formative constructs, the observed indicator are considered to define or form the latent variable. So whenever your indicators, your statement are basically going to define your construct, it means you are going to use a formative construct. So in the previous example, the statement causes your construct, while here they form or they define your construct. So indicator are viewed as a causes or determinants of latent constructs. Changes in the observed indicator are expected to cause the changes. That is the same thing that we have previously discussed. In both type of constructs, if you change the observed indicator, your latent variable would also change. The observed indicator may not necessarily be highly correlated with each other. That is the difference. That is the sole difference between formative and reflective constructs. In case of reflective, they may be highly correlated, and in case of formative they may not be highly correlated. So when to use formative constructs? When the indicator represent distinct dimension or elements of the overall constructs. So when there is no correlation, there is no high correlation between the indicators, it's mean you are going to use the formative constructs. So when there is no assumption of a common cause underlying the observed indicator, and indicators are seen as a contributor to the latent variable. So in that case, you would see that AP1, AP2, AP3, AP4, AP5, and AP6, the direction of your arrow would be towards your constructs. It means that you are forming the construct on the basis of these indicators. So you are not reflecting, you are actually forming. You are basically defining a concept using these indicators. You are basically forming a concept using these indicators. You are defining a concept using these indicators. So in that case, you may have a formative construct. In the same way, if you are basically need to measure the self-esteem, you can measure it or define it, or you can form it using these 9 statements. So the direction of arrow is towards from the factor to your construct. So these type of constructs are basically the formative constructs. So you need to remember the basic difference between both of them, uh, that in case of reflective constructs, the statement would causes uh, uh, the statement would causes your construct, while in case of formative constructs, the statement would define or would form your constructs. In case of reflective constructs, there may be a high correlation between the factors or indicators, but in case of formative constructs, there may not be necessarily any high correlation between the factors or between the indicators. You can see the wording of formative constructs. In case of formative constructs, what is the difference of the statement? If you need to form academic achievement, it is indicating my performance in mathematics course is significant factor in assessing my academic success. So it is using the word significant, crucial, you can say contribute, you can say significantly contribute, you can say key factor. So when a statement indicates that you are forming a construct, and that statement is basically the integral part of that constructs, it means you are doing a formative constructs. You need to have a formative constructs. In that case, the correlation between the statement may not be highly correlated, because there is a word of significance, there is a word of key factor, there is a word of important factor, or contribution, significantly contribution would be there in each statement, and it indicates that this statement is basically forming that concept. In the same way, if you can see the self-esteem, you can also verify the similar statement, like feeling goods about myself is a key aspect, is a key aspect of my self-esteem. It means this statement is very important in forming the self-esteem. My satisfaction with my physical experience play a significant role. So that word is basically indicates a significant part in forming the self-esteem. In the same way, feeling capable and competent contribute highly to my self-esteem. So contribute significantly. So in the similar way, you can recognize that the statement may include some word that indicates that this statement is basically forming that concept. So you need to you have understand you have understood the difference between formative construct and reflective constructs. Now let us start how we can analyze, because you have an overview about the basic terminology of SEM. Now we can start our smart PLS, but before starting smart PLS, you need to have an idea what output we need to extract from smart PLS 4 if we need to run it, because majority of the researcher who are new towards the smart PLS, they doesn't know what we need to extract from the output of the smart PLS. So first thing that you need to estimate is the demographic summary, and it is usually you need to have from the SPSS. So I have taught in my training session, second or third, how to estimate the demographic summary, how to report it. In my starting training sessions, I think training day 2 or 3, I have told how to estimate the demographic summary. Next is through smart PLS, you can measure the model, you can have factor loading, you can have convergent validity, you can have discriminant validity, you can have SEM, and you may use some advanced tool. So these are the things that you need to put in your article for publication purpose, because you need to require all of these. So what are these, and how can we find out if we need to read an article? You need to understand what are these things. So let me explain something from here. Like for example, I would like to open a file. For example, this one, let's suppose. uh, you can see here the topic is determinant factor of Indonesian people's fish purchase intention. This is a very simple topic, and how SEM is applied over here, and what are the output files you can see over here. If you can see, this is basically the demographic summary that I have indicated in my slide, that the first thing you need to find out is this demographic summary. So demographic summary means uh, the respondent summary, from where you have collected data, how many were male, how many were female, what is the percentage of male that have responded towards your questionnaire, regards your you can say survey. Here it indicates that 38% were male and 62% were female in the survey. And what are the age categories? How many were between 20 to 29? There were 95 people that contribute the 31% of the questionnaire survey, and so on. And what are their education level? What was their income level? So this is how you can create the demographic summary, and I have indicated how you can create this using the SPSS. You may see the recorded training videos I have previously shared. So second thing is basically the factor model, the SEM model. uh, you can see here, but this is basically the SEM model. This is not the measurement model. We need to see the measurement model. I will show you in some other paper, because some of the authors does not show the measurement model. They instead show the factor loading. So you can see here the factor loading. Yes, this one is basically the mean values and standard deviation values. And you can see here alpha. No, they have not shown here the factor values. We need to see some other paper, because they did not indicated the factor values. Like I will show you another paper. There are a lot of studies, and every researcher had different styles to understand their research. And this is what I was discussing with you. This is research model or measurement model, but they didn't have indicated their loading values over here. This is basically the measurement model. I have let you know that first thing that you need to consider here in using smart PLS4, you need to create a measurement model. So in this paper they have created it. This is the measurement model, and these are your latent variable, or you can simply say they are reflective constructs, because the sign of the error is towards the indicator. So PTP1 is first indicator, PTP2 is the second indicator, and PTP3 is the third indicator. So these are the indicator of perceived task productivity. In the same way, these are the indicators of perceived task innovation. These are the indicators of perceived management control, and these are the indicators of perceived customer satisfaction. So uh, if you can see the direction of arrow, they are showing a reflective constructs. So these are indicating reflective constructs. And here is your endogenous variable perceived organizational performance, and it is also showing it is a reflective constructs because it is measured by the six indicators. So these are reflective constructs. And one thing I want to revise over here, that we use the reflective constructs when we find a correlation between the indicators. So there might be a high correlation between PTP1 and PTP2 and PTP1 and PTP3 and PTP2 and PTP3 and so on, with the similar consideration in other indicators also. So when your indicators have high correlation, and they basically causes your latent variable, it means you are going to use the reflective model. So in this case, it is a reflective model, and it is also known as Measurement model. So I will let you know how to interpret it, but before that we need to see the second thing, that is, this is basically the demographic summary. They have created a very large table showing the demographic of their respondent. You may create it in a short way. This is a proper measurement model, you can see here, because it is also showing the values of factor loading. So whenever your measurement model also indicate the uh, proper values of factor loading, it becomes the measurement model. And without these value, it will be considered as a you can say uh, research model. So here you can see some values like beta. I have also told you in some of my slides about path and beta coefficient. If you remember that thing from my previous slides, just let me show you. I think this one. I have told you that you may have a path and you may have a path coefficient. So path coefficient mean when you estimate a relationship, you might have a path coefficient value. It would be good if you show us on Smart PLS Interpret. All right, I will show you, but let me show you what are the things that are needed, so that the people who are not aware of Smart PLS, and because some of the people from you might be new towards the Smart PLS. So let me just conclude this thing that I would be able to analyze. So these are basically the path coefficient, and this is the R square. And then you can see here the factor loading value. That is the second thing that we need to be able, that is factor loading. The first thing is measurement model. The second thing is factor loading. So you can analyze it factor loading. And for factor loading, I have some criteria I will let you know. Then after factor loading, you need to have some validity criterias like conversion validity and discriminant validity. Forner-Larker criteria is basically discriminant validity. So I will let you know how it is basically considered. And this is SEM model. You can see here the SEM model at the sixth number. So you may have discriminant validity, you may have convergent validity. So you can see here, this is SEM model, because SEM model indicates the beta value, the coefficient value, a proper coefficient value, that how these exogenous variable are impacting this one. So they may have, this is basically the coefficient table. It is indicating the path between PCS and POP is positive, and it is weakly significant because the t value is less than 1.96, and it is significant at 10% level. In the same way, if the t value is greater than 1.96, it is highly significant. So these are the table which are required in different papers. So let me start without wasting any time. Let me start the Smart PLS. So I think you have a basic understanding of different concepts. So how do we analyze, how do we assess our models? I have created some basic criterias, but before explaining all of these, I will let you know how to analyze a data set using this procedure. I will send you another data set when after this session. I will send you some another data set, but but for your consideration, you can use any data set that I have previously shared. So let me use some data set from here, like just a minute. For example, I am going to use a data set from some of my previous research, like for example, I am going to use this data set for your consideration. There is a study that I have conducted, and I have sent this paper, and it is under review. I cannot share this data set with you, but I will demonstrate lively how I have analyzed this data set, because this paper is under review and under study. And I will let you know how I have analyzed this. So this was presented in IBA. It is an institute in Karachi, Pakistan, regarding the financial well-being of household through digital financial inclusion. And let me see what were the variable, because it is about 8 months I have analyzed this study. There was a service convenience, perceived ease of use, perceived risk, privacy and security, and financial well-being was my dependent variable. So I need to see financial well-being. Yes, it is here. So let us analyze this data set for your demonstration. Then I will share some alternative data set with you. So I copy this data set and I will share here. I will start my smart PLS for your consideration. Let me start it and I will analyze that how I have considered this relationship. This was the conceptual diagram. I basically mean to analyze the impact of service convenience and perceived ease of use, perceived risk and privacy and security on financial well-being, and then financial well-being on service trust. The financial well-being here is basically the mediator. So these are basically the you can say the exogenous variable, and this is basically the first endogenous, and then it becomes the mediator, and service trust becomes the endogenous. There are some mediator involved in this model. So let me start. Let me select a workspace for analyzing this relationship. Just wait for a second, for some second, because it is in, I don't know why it is taking too much time. It is somehow when a number of applications are open, it may take some time. So while it is opening, we will discuss the other things that needed to consider while our output analysis. So when we are going to consider the assessment of measurement model, we need to consider measurement model graphical, then we need to consider the factor loading or outer loading, and then we need to see the construct validity and reliability. And when we are dealing with construct validity and reliability, we basically means to analyze it using the convergent validity and reliability and discriminant validity and reliability. In case of convergent validity and reliability, there are three things that we need to consider, like Cronbach alpha, composite reliability, and average variance extracted. And in case of discriminant validity and reliability, we need to use HTMT ratio, Fornell Larker criterion, and cross loadings. I will provide guidelines today how we can analyze the data using these considerations. Then we need to see the variance inflation factor and model fit indices. So these are the consideration when we need to assess the measurement model. In the second phase, when we need to assess the structural model, we need to develop a structural equation model graphical. We need to have hypothesis testing using SEM. We need to have R square, F square, and Q square. We need to assess the common method biases, and we need to assess the robustness check. So it means that when you are using structural equation modeling or SEM, you need to analyze your data in two phases. The first phase is assessment of measurement model, and the second phase is basically assessment of structural model. So let me check whether the smart PLS is open, and it is still not responding. Maybe it will take some time, uh, and it will be might be working after the meeting is over. But before that, it is open. Let me show you additional slides. We can discuss this while the program is opening. What is measurement model? How can we analyze the measurement model, or how can we explain the measurement model? Measurement model is something that shows your indicators and your constructs. So it indicates how your indicators or factors measuring your constructs. So you can see here the employee engagement is measured by four factors: the factor ENG1, ENG3, ENG6, and ENG9. It's mean the remaining factors may be deleted due to low level of factor loading. So we need to see whether the factor loading is greater than 0.70 or less than 0.70. So some of the researchers suggest that you may have a factor loading greater than 0.70. So if the factor loading is less than this level, sometimes the criteria you can follow is 0.60. So if you have a factor loading even 0.60, you can delete that factor. So he may have deleted a number of factors from here. In the same way, he may have deleted some factors from here and concluded that these are the four factors that can measure the promotion quality. These are the five factors that can measure the employee performance more significantly. So this type of model, which shows how your factors are measuring your constructs, is basically the measurement model. The time is going to end. 40 minutes of your Zoom meeting is going to end. You are required to join again from the same link, and perhaps at that time the smart PLS start working, and I will let you know through the live demonstration how we can apply these steps. So it is requested to join again from the same link, and we can start from the smart PLS.